My 31 female, daughter tween, and my niece tween are born 10 days apart. Due to this, ever since they were little, my sister-in-law, 29, has always pushed for them to have a shared birthday party. When the girls were younger, 1 through 4, we did shared birthday parties, but my husband and I realized we were always the ones to foot the bill for everything: food, decorations, location, etc. The girls were also complete opposites. My daughter's always been more of a tomboy, while my niece is super girly. When my husband and I told sister-in-law and my brother that we won't be doing the shared birthdays anymore, they were really upset, and it started this huge fight. They said they can't afford to throw a nice birthday for my niece, but we can, so it makes sense that we pay for it since we're family. Yeah, not gonna fly with my husband and me, so we stuck by what we said, and the girls have had separate birthdays ever since. My daughter and my husband love watching Formula One together, and she wanted to have a Formula One themed birthday this year. So the weekend before the birthday, we had a family dinner at my parents' house. My sister-in-law, my brother, and my niece were present. My parents were asking the girls if they were excited about their upcoming birthdays and would they have the parties this year. My daughter told my parents that she's having a Formula One themed party this year. Sister-in-law answered for my niece and said that they weren't going to have a party for her because things were tight. The conversation was left there. Fast forward to this past weekend. My daughter's birthday was on Saturday. We had the party and it was going great. The whole family was invited as usual, and everyone was having a great time until the cake. I'm in the kitchen with my mom, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and a few other family friends talking. I pull the cake out to get it ready to bring out for everyone. Sister-in-law takes a look at the cake and looks confused. Sister-in-law, is this the girls' birthday cake? Me, what do you mean the girls? The cake is for my daughter's name. Sister-in-law, well, I thought since I mentioned that things are tight this year, that you'd include niece's name in the birthday. Me, I understand your situation, but how come you never mentioned this to me? Sister-in-law, well, I thought it would be common sense. Now my daughter isn't going to have any kind of celebration for her birthday this year because you and your husband are so selfish. She then stormed out of the kitchen and made a huge scene at the party outside, yelling to her husband and my niece that it was time to go, and they left. Since then, she's been messaging my husband and me nonstop, trying to make us feel guilty that my niece isn't going to have a birthday party and calling us all kinds of names. I feel bad that my niece isn't going to get a birthday party. Am I the idiot for not including her, even though they can't afford it? Not the idiot. First, it's simply not your job to ensure your niece has a party. That's up to her parents. If things are tight, maybe they need to be creative, but it's still on them. Secondly, it's ridiculous for her to think that hinting around will add her daughter to the party. If it was as important to her as she acts like it is, then she should have had a frank conversation with you and simply asked. You could have still said no, but there wouldn't have been the confusion. This is on them, not you. Let's call a spade a spade. There was no confusion. Sister-in-law knew that this was OP's daughter's birthday party. The rest of the family knew that this was OP's daughter's birthday party. Sister-in-law was simply waiting for the time and place to make a scene and to try to make OP look like the idiot. Your sister-in-law is a joke. I cringe whenever people say, but we're family. And if this is how brother and sister-in-law will continue to act, wish them well and go low contact until they can get their heads out of their butts. I'm very confused. How much money can you possibly invest in a tween's birthday party? Most of my kids' birthdays have been at the park with a self-made chocolate cake, some sweets, a fruit salad, a treasure hunt, and some balloons. If you want a cool location or a VIP experience or whatever, you can spend more, obviously, but that's completely optional. Children at that age mostly want to have fun with their friends and blow out their candles. Sounds like sister-in-law wants to keep up the appearance of affluence to the people that come to her daughter's birthday. With parents like this, it's rarely about the kids. OP, it is not reasonable to expect you to be able to read minds, specifically the mind of your assumptive and entitled sister-in-law. As I kept reading, the entitlement just got worse. Wow, I feel for your niece. Your sister-in-law is a real piece of work. I'm a 19-year-old female. A few days ago was the birthday party of my cousin, Hillary, female 25. We aren't close at all, but we see each other at family events and holidays. We never really disliked each other like most cousins. It might be just because of our tremendous age gap, though. Back in 2020, Hillary got sick. She thought it was corona initially, and it was, but tests showed she also had cancer. I learned of this at Christmas that year, and honestly got super emo. I now have made a point of asking her about her health whenever I see her. At Hillary's birthday party, I was there with my mom. My and Hillary's moms are sisters, if you were wondering. It was Hillary's gold birthday, February 25th, one she didn't know if she'd reach, so it was really celebratory. When I got the chance, I started small talk with her. I indirectly brought up her cancer, to which Hillary responded, "Haven't you heard that I'm going to be okay?" I said no, and she explained that she had been cancer-free since early January. I was so happy because I'm a pessimist and didn't consider that she could improve. I was confused why I hadn't known about Hillary since she found out 2 months ago, but I assumed she had only told her unextended family so far. I asked her if anyone besides me knew she was free, to which she said of course. As one would, I assumed she meant only her parents and friends. I then took an opportunity to make her party extra special. I understood what I did next might have not been my place. I stood up on my chair and said, "Can I have your attention? Hillary's cancer-free." There was silence, with people looking at each other before they started awkwardly clapping or cheering. The room didn't hush up, and I soon understood that everybody already knew Hillary no longer had cancer. I asked Hillary and she whispered, "Shelly, I thought you knew." Everyone there knew, except my mom and me, before the party, since I would have only known from my mom. My mom confronted Hillary's mom about why she wasn't told about Hillary's remission. Hillary's mom told my mom that she didn't know how to tell her because she's difficult to talk with about serious topics. My mom gave her a "what's that supposed to mean?" which began the typical sisterly bicker at gatherings. This was the first time one of their arguments involved Hillary, though, and on her birthday. After a few minutes of the moms arguing, that was the end of the party, at least for me, because Hillary's mom kicked my mom out and we'd come together in my Range Rover. On the way out, Hillary spoke with me and said she wished I hadn't gotten our moms riled up. As Hillary's mom was shooing me out, I asked Hillary for her number to explain myself. However, the last thing she said to me was that it's best if my mom and I never interact with her and hers again. Ouch! Am I the idiot? I hope this post belongs here because I inadvertently started an interpersonal conflict between two other people, which ignited an interpersonal conflict between Hillary and me. You are the idiot. You don't even have your cousin's phone number. How dare you make any sort of public announcement about her life, especially her health? You thought people didn't know, so you decided it was your place to make the announcement? Never occurred to you that Hillary would want to tell people herself or not talk about it? It was her birthday. Maybe she didn't want the focus to be on the cancer or her recovery. You and your mom are huge idiots, and obviously, neither one of you know how to respect someone else's privacy or autonomy. Exactly. Regardless of what OP claims, that they were suddenly closer, they obviously weren't. They were probably the two guests that got invited because it'll make a bigger drama if we don't invite them than if we do, which in this case was not how it played out. It's obvious that your mom lacks social skills, and she's passed that on to you. You're old enough to start learning what acceptable and non-acceptable conversation at social events is. There are tons of etiquette resources available on the internet. I suggest you start visiting them and learning how socially adept people behave. Good luck. I'm male 36, remarried after my late wife passed away. I have a son, teen. My current wife and I have been together for 2 years. She generally has a good relationship with my son, although they tend to have some disagreements from time to time. My son has a background in arts that involves wood. He used to help his grandfather with his woodworking and learn how to make handmade wooden items and use them as gifts. I planned a dinner party for my wife's birthday at a prestigious restaurant. The day before the party, she was cleaning my son's room and saw what he had gotten her for her birthday, a wooden tree with mine, hers, and his name on it. She talked with him and told him that while she thought it was a sweet gift, she asked him not to bring it to the restaurant and give it to her there. Why? No idea. When my son told me this, I just had to call her out on it. She flat out said that she thought the gift looked ridiculous and she didn't want it to be seen in that prestigious restaurant and in front of her guest. I lost it on her and told her she should be ashamed of herself for saying this when my son was sincere and thoughtful. She swore she wasn't ashamed or embarrassed by his work and even said she'll take the gift, but she simply didn't want it to be seen there. I told her not to worry about it since I decided to cancel everything. She went off on me, calling me unreasonable for outright canceling her birthday over such a trivial thing. I refused to keep arguing, but she threw a fit about how I ruined her birthday and made her lose respect for me and my promises. My son kept the gift since she left the house 2 days ago, and her mom has been chewing me out for my decision and calling me an idiot for treating her daughter like this. It could be that it wasn't a big deal and I overreacted, but my son was feeling hurt by her request. Holy heck, not the idiot at all. Your wife doesn't sound like a very kind person at all, but incredibly shallow and cruel. This calls for a what the heck is wrong with her. Also, how old is she to have her mom chewing you out? Not seeing this mother-in-law anytime soon. She sounds like she's 19 or 20. This isn't a grown woman we're discussing here. And if it is, then wow. Cancel the whole marriage. What kind of wicked stepmother nonsense is this crap? I would have cherished any homemade gift my daughter or stepkids made me. I knew better at 19, so I'm not sure this is an excuse. A teen handmade a birthday gift for a stepmother? I don't know if she can see it's actually 2 gifts. 1, obviously the tree itself, and 2, the thought and work he put into it. Boy, she can plan her own party. Agree. That and the fact that the boy who lost his mother before stepmom came into the picture only 2 years ago feels strongly enough about her to put all their names on a tree, making it a family tree, saying he sees her as family. She should be crying tears of joy and parading that tree around town, shouting from the rooftops how much it means to her. Instead, she just ruined his trust, affection for her, and possibly any other woman his dad has a relationship with. My sister is obsessed with the show Yellowstone. Her husband is willing to do anything to make her happy. They wanted to name their baby Cowboy. I know I should have kept my mouth shut. It's not my circus or my monkey. I just know the absolute crap that kid will go through. So I told her to consider that she was naming a person who would eventually be an adult. Our mom and dad at least had the decency to only give me Danger as a middle name. Yes, I've seen the movie. She thinks I'm an idiot for calling her name choice stupid. I'm trying to save him from a lifetime of bullying until he legally changes his name. So, am I the idiot for telling my sister she needs to name her baby like he'll actually grow up and not give him a cool baby name? Not the idiot. That name qualifies as a tragedy. It is a stupid name. I guess someone liked the guitar picker on Yellowstone, but of course if she paid attention, she might have noticed that he called himself that so he wouldn't have to give his actual name. That's not just a tragedy, it's a murder, LMAO. I'm surprised she didn't want to throw some flair on the spelling, maybe like KHAOWBHOY, cowboy. I'm so tired of these crunchy granola moms making the dumbest spelling or unique baby names. If you want a rare name, just go back 50 plus decades, then start naming your sons Leslie again or something. I've had twins called Artemis and Athena, Also Sapphire, Princess, Epiphany, and my personal fave, Enola Gay. As a veteran teacher, I thought I had heard all the awful names, but nope. Cowboy makes it to the top 5. Tell your sister a teacher who will have to call out that name at school every day is telling her it is a terrible idea. Like, how hard would it be to call the kid a name that wouldn't cause anybody to blink on a resume, but call the kid Cowboy often enough that that becomes his nickname? My nibbling has a nickname that's used more commonly than his first name, but he probably won't go by that forever. Or maybe he will, but at least he doesn't have a lifetime of weird looks coming his way whenever he says his name. You tried, OP. Poor kid gonna hear yeehaw his whole life. My 25 female, father 58, has a guest come first policy. It's something he got from my grandfather. He loves calling people over and hosting small get-togethers, and it's happened enough for me to get used to it. What bothers me is that he expects me and my sister, 19, to bend over backward for him and his friends. Examples include designing our rooms specifically to use as guest rooms and berating me for not wanting to switch places with a guest at the dinner table. He wants my sister and me at these occasions, but never actually interacts with us. He's never respected our time, boundaries, or work. Complaining or refusing to attend usually cause fights. I moved in with my fiance, 25 male, after college. Our first son was born last March. My dad has been trying to convince us to come over for a party with his friends for a while. We've refused, mostly because our baby's first month has been exhausting. Yesterday, he invited us over to his apartment for dinner. This time, he promised something simple: burgers, bonding with the baby, and a movie. I was looking forward to spending time with my dad, so we agreed to come. When we got there to see the promised burgers, surrounded by about a dozen of my dad's friends, it was very obviously a meet my grandson dinner party. His drinking friends were all around, gushing and asking to hold my son. There was loud music playing, and my baby started crying moments after we got there. I didn't even see my father for a while. The final straw was when my dad led us to where he wanted us to sit, at a coffee table in front of the TV. He'd moved stuff around to accommodate 2 placements for my fiance and me. It's not even tall enough for chairs. His friends fully occupied the dinner table, and he didn't want to make his guests sit on the floor. He claimed to be hosting the dinner for us, but didn't even want us to sit at the table. I told my dad we had to go home. He tried to convince us to stay, but we left only 15 minutes after arriving. On the way home, my father called me furious about how excited his friends had been to meet the baby and how my fiance and I were robbing him of spending time with his grandson. I told him I wouldn't sit on the floor with my baby just so he could chat with his friends, and that we were too tired and overwhelmed to deal with the dinner party. I explained that we only came because he promised it was just a movie night, not a party with his friends. He got annoyed and said that what mattered was spending time together, and didn't listen when I argued that he didn't even expect us to be near him. My mom is on my side. They've been divorced since I was 7, and she's always hated that behavior. But my sister's on my dad's side. She says that he just wanted to spend time with us and introduce his first grandchild to his friends, and that we could have sucked it up for a night. Am I the idiot? Edit. He didn't inform us there would be guests. The only other person I expected to see there was his current girlfriend, and I was okay with that. We had no reason to believe anyone else would be there. The other guests were mostly couples, plus 1 or 2 of his single friends. Most of my family lives in a different city, so none of the guests were my relatives. Not the idiot. I'm on the baby side. Babies need calm, consistent, supportive environments. The poor kid is barely a month old. He wants him at a loud party full of strangers and people with goodness knows what germs pawing at your kid, and then doesn't even give you the courtesy of a good place to sit down. He shouldn't even throw parties if his hosting abilities suck this much. This isn't about the baby. OP deserves to be treated as a loved and valued part of her dad's life, not an afterthought or party entertainment. Dad mistreated OP here, not the baby. OP, I would be frustrated too. Unfortunately, your sis is habituated to this nonsense, so she's giving you a hard time. Keep standing up for yourself. Your dad will come around. I suspected OP's dad is using his daughters as his servers, maids, and whatnot. He doesn't care about their well-being, even his grandson. Go low contact on him and tell him that you won't go back to his house again, ever. If he wants to see your grandson, he has to come to your place and follow your house rules. He has to make a choice.